Welcome back, everyone. Repurposing is a great way to keep things out of the dump and to give your home a little decor boost.
Thank you very much, Budo. Christy Bixby, and Chris Johnson from the Fargo Antiques and Repurposed Market here to tell about their upcoming junk market, which is coming up this Saturday. To both of you, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Upcycling is so big right now. And I see you guys have some treasures here. We use junk, and you're fine with using junk market. Is that an okay term?
Yeah, we do use flea market once in a while too. It depends on, the event that we're having. But this, this one upcoming is a lot of rusty junk.
Or hidden treasures.
Or hidden
treasures.
We use the form junk, but in jest, because it to us junk is treasures, and we enjoy dealing with them and repurposing them and finding different uses for them. So,
tell us a little bit about what you have brought in today.
Well, this piece here was in really bad shape, and it would have headed for the dump had I not taken it in.
Rescued it.
Yes, I took the door off the front and filled it in, and then I painted the whole thing, and then I put the basket in the bottom.
Beautiful.
And if you could just imagine, this was like that old 70s dark wood with, and it was just unappealing to today's design and stuff. So she really did an awesome job bringing out a different look for it and a really neat color to it. So.
Did you give it a name by chance?
No.
No? When you take it in and rescue it, like a little...
No, we don't want to get too attached. We do have to sell
we do have to sell.
Where do you find your pieces? Can people bring in stuff?
They do. This piece I bought from a gentleman. I don't even remember what I paid for it, but I had several pieces that he had. And there's so many products out there that you can use to put on these pieces. This one had a lot of dings and scratches and had a lot of problems with it. So a little wood filler and some sandpaper. And then when you paint over it, you don't see all of those flaws, and it makes it a really pretty piece.
So I don't have the skill set. So when you bought it, is this what you saw when you bought it? Did you know, like, oh, that's how I'm going to transform this thing?
Pretty much.
Really?
Yep. I go by the hardware on there. The hardware is original on this piece. Like I said, I took the door off of it and put the basket. So when I was looking for a color, obviously you have to do a little color match with it. So it doesn't look goofy with the dark hardware on it. So I actually brought the pieces that I used for this. It was a rust color. It's cottage paint that we do sell in the store. Then it's a glaze that went over the top to give it that dark look. And then because it's a piece that you'll probably set a drink or coffee cup or whatever on, I did finish the top with varnish. And this is all water-based product, so yeah, you can paint this right in your kitchen. There's no smell, no...
Nice.
So you can buy this if you don't want to attempt, but you can also be inspired by some of your pieces. You'll help people kind of try to do it themselves?
Yep. Chris and I are looking at possibly doing some classes to help people learn how to do some of these things. There's so many different techniques that you can do. Here's another piece that I had done. This is just an old cupboard door. When you turn it this way, you can hang that up in the entryway.
Nice.
And I left the door original and just put a piece of lace over the top and regular spray paint.
Wow. I was like, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then the Narvik blue paint for these, and that was it. In the back, sorry, Chris, you can see where the old hinges were for when they were hung up in the kitchen. And you put a hanger on there, and it would be a nice piece for an entryway.
And it
That
looks
is fantastic.
and good colors,
so
hot colors that are really popular right now.
So there's, just different things you can do with all kinds of things that most people would throw away. Those pieces inspire us a little bit.
You got a couple pieces you want to talk about, Chris?
And then on the other side, the antique side that we have, I brought a few different things. The one on the blue is called a flow blue, and it's one of the older porcelain potteries that was ever made. That started back in the 1800s when they started making stuff like this. And then pieces have been very collectible. It's one of the most collected pottery in the United States.
Wow.
And it's called Flow Blue. They did it, a number of different manufacturers did it, and they did it in different expenses. So some are more expensive and some are less expensive. So, and most people will, when they collect it, they'll collect it by a maker.
I was going to say, how do you know if you want to go to Grandma's house and see if what she has is valuable or not? Because there are pieces that aren't worth a lot of money that
Exactly.
kind of look like this.
Yep, and there's a lot of reproductions out there as well. Good antiques are always reproduced because they're popular, and so people want something inexpensive. Most of the time on the bottom of pieces there is a maker's mark of some sort, and that's how you tell where the piece came from, when it was. You can even, by the different marks, you can tell when it was made and things like that.
Interesting.
The little pheasant on this side is a local piece. It was made in Wahpeton, North Dakota.
Nice.
It's rosemead, and rosemead was made in Wahpeton from the late 30s to the early 60s. They had a plant down there, and then Laura Taylor was the lead artist down there, and she ran the place when it opened. And when she passed away in '59 from cancer, then a couple years later they ended up closing it up, just because when you lose such a important person being the lead artist. And they did all kinds of wildlife stuff. They did pheasants, they did dog heads, and it's pottery, so they would use functionals. They did lamps out of them, they did salt and pepper shakers, things like that, cream and sugars. So it was for people to use on a day-to-day basis, but they made anything from little field mice to, pheasants to, palomino horses, everything, And then in the 60s, when they did close, then the market was more flooding with things from Japan and things like that, so they couldn't compete as well. So
We've got about a minute left. I want to give you a chance to talk about the house, and let's also promote what's coming up on Saturday.
Okay, yep, and then the last piece is a tin litho from Mark's company. It's one of the best pieces I've ever seen. It's from one of our vendors who collects it, and it's from the 1940s, and it is almost completely intact. A lot of the times, like the little cat in front would be broken off or things like that, and that takes away from the value. And that piece is just a beautiful rendition of what some of the things that we might have in the store. So
Nice. So where's your store at, and then what's happening on Saturday?
we have two locations. We have a location in Fargo is on 52nd Avenue, and then we have the one in the Moorhead Center Mall. On Saturday we're having our junk market, and that's going to be a variety of vendors who will have a variety of different things for sale. It can be redone stuff like this, all the way down to rusty, gritty stuff that people can redo, or some people just like it that way. They like it real rusty and sweaty.
So show up Moorhead Center Mall 10 to 5 and enjoy the hidden
And it's
treasures.
free to the public, so
Oh,
there's
wow.
no
Okay,
admission
great.
fee to come in. So.
But you might fall in love with something that you need to go home. That will
Yeah.
cost
Sure,
extra.
they have something for everybody. So
Thanks, you
stuff.
guys.
thank
you.
you.
Appreciate it. All right, stay with us. When we come back, you're going to see Boudreaux's beach muscle workout right after this.